right. Well, we want to make sure we do stay on schedule for today and reward all of you for joining our meeting on time. I'm sure we'll have some additional joiners. So yes, you'll have to hear me again, remind everybody to put their name in the chat. But we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. So I will go ahead and start by sharing my screen quickly here. And that way you can see the beautiful landscape of downtown Chicago. That has not changed in a year for me doing presentations with everybody virtually. But we are very excited to welcome every single one of you into our employee campaign coordinator orientation this morning. We've got a great sized crowd, as I mentioned. In fact, each year this crowd seems to be getting larger and larger, which is a great reflection on our community, as well as all of your and your organization or company's commitment to raising funds for our community, doing special events for our community, for volunteering in our community. So thank you so much for taking the time to jump on today, as well as for serving your role. As I will be sharing my screen today, again, just a reminder to mute yourselves as you come on the call. Thank you. If you do have any questions or want further explanation on anything as we go through the presentation,
I must have made my entry.
To go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, all right.
We prefer you
so
put
they
your
didn't
question
charge us
in the
for
chat. And we've got just a little bit of a disruption there, sorry. But go ahead and put your question in the chat or raise your hand. Terry Anderson, we'll do introductions in a moment, but many of you already know her, will be kind of our assistant here since I'm sharing my screen, and she'll let us know that there's a question or a request for further explanation, something. So please feel free to do that. This is a pretty casual group. We've had the pleasure to work with some of you for years and years, and we're very excited about working with you again this year. We do have some new people who are joining in, but it's a family here. We do this together. So again, if you do have questions, put it in the chat. Also, if you want to go ahead and shift it over to speaker view at some point, that might make it a little bit easier to view your screen. But again, please do keep yourself on mute. And if you seem to be having some video trouble, you can go ahead and shut your video off, and sometimes that'll help with the call because we do have so many people on here. So once again, before we get started, go ahead and make sure you put your name, company, and or organization in the chat so we have a chance to know that you did join us today. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started since we've taken care of all of our housekeeping items. And I want to first of all open it up with some very special introductions. It is my privilege to introduce to you our 21-22 campaign co-chairs. We have two co-chairs this year again, and my slide didn't change, so I got to figure out why. There we go. We have Dan Clay, who is with the University of Iowa. He's the Dean of College of Education. And we also have Janet Linus, who is the County Attorney for Johnson County, Iowa. So Dan, Janet, go ahead and open up, and if you want to share a few words.
Sure. Thank you, Trish, and good morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining us on the call this morning. I think if we've learned anything from this pandemic, these last 15 or so months, it's that segments of our community have been differentially affected, whether it's the schools closing, the enormous impact this has had on mental health of our youth and of our adult populations, or people that have lost employment, that there are segments of our community that are really hurting and have been. And United Way is such an important part of supporting aspects of our community that are otherwise underserved. So employee campaigns, of course, are really important part of that success. So thanks to all of you for your commitment, and appreciate you being here this morning. I'm super excited to be working with Janet this year and the other United Way professionals for this year's campaign. So thank you to all of you for being here. I look forward to a successful campaign, and I'll turn it over to Janet.
Hey, like what Kate said, I've been a big person. I can tell you, having been involved this past year in the Emergency Operations Center dealing with COVID, having United Way be a part of it was really an essential piece of that. Being able to go to them for so many different things was really, really helpful in the last year. And we very much appreciated everything United Way did. United Way, though, has been here in our community for many years, and it's really such an important part of making sure that our community helps people in need, make sure that we're a thriving community, really bringing people together to help each other as well. I think that this year in particular, as we're trying to overcome the effects of the pandemic in the last year, as well as trying to restore all of the things that we seem to have lost a lot of in the last year, it's going to be really essential that we have a great campaign. Now, I have to tell you, in looking at who's on this call, it's really exciting to see people I've known for a long time. And I know you're going to do a great job in trying to make sure the employees you work with are contributing and that they understand the importance of United Way. So I really want to thank all of you for what you're doing. And this is going to be a great campaign year. And I'm very excited about working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan and Janet. These guys are just great. We're already having a lot of fun, but we're already creating some new opportunities for the campaign this year. And we're really excited to bring the community to them and allow them to share our message as well. So thank you so much for everything you're doing to volunteer to support this effort as well. All right, just a few other people on the call. I just wanted to make sure we lift up. We do have Katie Knight, United Way of Johnson and Washington County's president and CEO on the call. She can give a little wave if you happen to have her in your window. We have Patty Fields, who are Vice President of Community Impact and Engagement on our call today. Terry Anderson, our Director of Finance and Operations, and Carol Rowland, who is our Finance and Pledge Service Coordinator. All of these individuals serve very valuable roles in United Way and in our community, but above all of these individuals really make this happen. This is not a single individually driven campaign. This is certainly a group effort, a team effort, and it couldn't be done without everybody's contribution. So I personally thank each and every one of them for their assistance, and we look forward to celebrating and contributing to your efforts and supporting you as we go through the campaign this year. All right, well, we are going to kick it off with our campaign video this year, which of course is new, fun, and exciting. So we're going to tap into that. Give it just a moment here. There she goes. And we'll get her started.
It's hard to hope, hard to cope with crisis. But while we might be all alone, we've never been more tightly tethered, because we'll only weather this unknown together. So we get to work. We mend, we don't break even when we bend. Somewhere, another mom pays her bills. Somewhere, another child eats his fill. We were the world's neighbors, making our communities brighter, greater, fighting for every person in the neighborhood. We, the coming of the common good, so dare to care, to be hope-sighted. We're never divided, for when we live to give, we always live united.
You're muted, Trish.
So sorry about that. Been trying to unmute before I actually get to my part of presentation, so my apologies. But Amanda Gorman, again, you may have seen her at inauguration. She's just an amazing poet, and we're so proud to partner her with United Way to share that message as well. It's short, it's succinct, but it really just speaks to the fact that we are working together, and we are relaunching the Live United campaign. And so you'll see when we live to give, we live united in a lot of places this year. And we're really, again, proud to unite with her. Again, once again, if you've just joined us, please make sure you do put your name, company, and organization in the chat for us. It's our really best way to take attendance today. We know many people join by phone, and unfortunately, I don't know all your phone numbers by heart or your cell numbers. So please do take a moment to drop that in the chat for us. Your campaign coordinator handbook was sent out to you yesterday in digital form. Again, trying to save some trees, but we have that in hard copy if you really need it that way, but feel free to print it if you need to at your organization. We're gonna just hit some highlights as we traditionally do in this meeting, but then certainly focus on things, specifically your questions about this campaign year, some new things for this campaign year, as well as some special events and other collateral pieces that'll just support you as you go through your campaign. Probably one of the most important things we want to make sure people feel grounded in is understanding that there is need in our community. Thanks to Patty Field's work and our partner agencies, we've gotten a lot of information as to what's happening in our community and the impact not only of COVID in our community, but the economic stressors that have gone through with this journey. Just a few that I want to highlight for you as my desk clicks in there, sorry. We just really want to emphasize the fact that people have been experiencing both new things through the last couple of years, but also people have continued to need services for ongoing issues throughout the years. And our partner agencies, as well as our United Way initiatives, have been addressing all of those things. 1 in 5 individuals who experience mental health diagnosis in any given year, 1 in 17 will actually experience a serious mental illness with a profound impact on our life. We know that this last couple of 1.5 to 2 years has really put a strain on all of our mental health. I will be the first to admit there have been times through this journey that I've hit some lows, and it's been hard, and it's okay to admit those things. It's okay to recognize the fact that at some point in time, it's healthy for us to seek out assistance from someone else. And we know our mental health care providers have been working tirelessly to not only assist those individuals, but to spread that word. The need is there. There's also been a steady increase in the number of victims of domestic violence, and served by DVIP, the number has increased by 10% to over 1,300 individuals. And that's quite a reach for that team there. As you can imagine, domestic violence is something that's very challenging to work with, but in the middle of the pandemic, we had people who were quarantined in their homes. For some of us, it just meant it was a long day. For some of us, it meant that, you know, we had a chance to watch Netflix at lunch. But for other of us, it was a safety issue, and it became a life or death issue. And DVIP has been working strong to try and alleviate that and make sure everyone who needs their services can access their services, but the need is going up. A response to those needs is, first of all, the United Way initiatives that we embrace at United Way. These are our core values that we stand on and we leaned into last year. Understanding that birth through adult education is a vital process to academic and independent success is incredibly vital and important. Understanding access to healthcare, physical, mental, emotional well-being, and safety, as we just spoke to, is vital to our community's success. And making sure that we build that core financial stability, making sure individuals in our community have sufficient income and essential supports, again, only strengthens our individuals and families so that they can become successful. Again, this is our three-legged stool. This is what we stand on at United Way. Our partner agencies focus on these areas. Our United Way initiatives focus on these areas because through extensive research and knowledge, we know that enhancing and strengthening these areas will make our community stronger. Once again, no one is prouder, I don't think, in our community than the United Way for partnering with these nonprofit organizations, many of which are on the call today, because yes, they run employee campaigns as well and do a fantastic job. Our partners in this community are listed here. We are so very proud of everything that they provide in terms of services to our community. But also, again, just to note that these organizations are businesses and are also interacting with their, quote, customers or clients. They too had to go on this journey with us through COVID. And not only did they have to make sure their staff were safe, but they also had to make sure their environments were safe and welcoming still, as well as their clients were safe. On top of that, they had to maintain their level and high level of service that they provide. That was a feat. We all faced our challenges through the last couple of years, but these individuals, their leadership teams, their frontline staff really did an amazing job to make sure that they were still able to provide services to our community without disruption, minimal disruption, or to create a new way to make sure those services could get reached out to. We can't not do this orientation without touching on COVID. It's going to be here, unfortunately, for maybe a little while longer. We have no crystal ball still, but we are, first of all, so thankful for our community support of our COVID efforts. And I'll just start out just speaking a little bit about it, and then I'm going to pass it over to Patty, who really drove the impact side of our COVID intervention. The side of this that I had the privilege to be a part of. Many of you on a regular basis, in fact, on a daily basis, received our COVID email updates, which we pushed out daily for quite a while, and then we scaled back to once a week. And then we did drop off this last couple of months. But now we're certainly looking at if there's a need to go ahead and increase those again. But getting up and through the week, driving that information out to everybody so you could rely on information that was local, that was factual, was just a privilege of ours to do for you. That communication effort was really valuable. On top of that communication effort, we also worked very extensively with our local providers, our local emergency providers, as well as healthcare providers. We're on our third panel discussion revolving around COVID. We've done 2 already, and later this afternoon, we'll be doing another one, and we'll speak to that in a little bit. But we really wanted to make sure your questions about COVID could be answered from a trusted source. And so partnering with the University of Iowa Healthcare, with Mercy Iowa City, with Johnson County Public Health, really drove those panel discussions, and we really were educated in the process. We do have recordings of those that we do house on our YouTube channel as well as our website, and you're always welcome to go back and look at those. In some ways, it's interesting to see the evolution of the questions as we've gone on this journey together. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Patty and let her speak specifically to the impact side of COVID and what's happened there.
Well, first I wanted to thank you all for being on today, but also to really talk about how United Way does respond in times of disaster, because I think that's something that not everyone always knows our role in that. And we have a long history and a long partnership with Johnson County Emergency Management. So any time of any kind of disaster, whether we've been weathering COVID for quite a while, but then we also had the derecho storm and others that have happened throughout the years. And United Way is that response piece in several ways. Of course, we are a volunteer leader in all times of disaster. So if there is a need for volunteers to help, we are the coordination piece. We are the portal where all of that information flows through. And it's been really a great partnership with emergency management, but also knowing that in the last year, we learned so much about what was happening and how that impacted organizations who relied on volunteers when they no longer had those volunteers due to COVID, and how that impacted their services. So we had great response from the community to get those volunteer efforts going, to help places like Table to Table, who pretty much lost almost all of their volunteers between the students leaving to having a lot of their volunteers being over 60 who are in that vulnerable population. So it really took quite a community effort to do that. And we are so proud that we were able to partner and kind of help people keep going. At the same time, we're there as a resource piece to help those who have those greatest needs or who just don't know where to turn for help. COVID really has impacted so many that maybe don't know how to reach out for help or even where to go. And so we really were that kind of piece that helped in that urgent need, but then we've been ongoing helping people connect with services and knowing where to go for that. So it's been certainly an eye-opening to understand the impact of a new kind of disaster in the sense with the pandemic, and knowing that there are so many who have had their lives impacted and their incomes impacted, and whether they had to pivot for their own family to only go to one income because one parent needed to be home while the kids were doing their online school, or whether it was they've had disruption in their own employment and how to make that all work. So we were there, and you can see through the numbers that Trish has provided in the book, but we were there to really help individuals and households through both COVID and the derecho. And it was an honor for me to speak to so many who had those needs and be there with them in that moment to understand that when the power goes out in derecho and they've lost all their food, what that means for them in a household and how we can help them. And that's what we did. So it is one of those pieces. And then as we keep moving forward, because as Trish just mentioned, we're not done yet. And COVID and how it has impacted our community and how it's coming back, we've had a strong role in that as well. We convene a long-term recovery group that is of all kinds of service providers and municipal partners and anyone who wanted to be involved in how our community keeps moving forward. So we still meet monthly. We trade information. We learn from each other. We have to be flexible and figure out how we are addressing some of those needs. And now, of course, our efforts have really turned to how do we keep the push, keep things going to keep as many people healthy and safe as possible and increase the number of vaccinations in our community. So that's really where we pivoted at this point, and also really trying to focus those who may have barriers, whether it's transportation, whether it's access, whatever the barrier may be, we're trying to reach out for there and bring resources to the community from a statewide grant to help those who are looking to get vaccinated. So that's kind of what we've been doing in the short term. But if you have any questions at all, if you ever want information, I mean, even some specifics that you want to share with your groups and who you are working with, just let me know, because I have a lot of data on that.
Patty, she's going to go ahead and continue on talking about volunteer efforts with United Way and specifically how we can partner with you all to provide volunteer opportunities. Go ahead, Patty.
Sure. So one of the things I just want you to, I guess, take from any of this is there are so many ways to engage with the community, and United Way can help make that path happen. And so everything from, sometimes it's a matter of wanting to find projects and a way to engage for a small group, for a work group, for a team, for a family, whatever it may look like, or an individual. And United Way can really help be that connector piece to help make all those pieces work. And so everything from whether it's food drives or drives for supplies, for winter clothing, those kinds of things that can be done in kind of a larger way, we certainly can help that. And we also have that connection to so many of the organizations that need those types of donations, that we can also be that avenue to help get it out to all the different organizations that could utilize it. But we also know that it's really important that when we can harness the volunteer work and harness service, it just makes everything else better. It pushes things forward and also makes our impact as a community much bigger. So we have all kinds of at-home, on-site, safe distance projects available. And of course, we've learned in the last year that when people are even disconnected and are not with each other physically, they still want to be connected and they want to help. And so we've tried to make that as accessible as possible to make those projects happen. So we are able to work with whatever groups and whatever your needs are. And there, I know in your materials, there's a whole list of all kinds of opportunities and kits and volunteer projects that we have connected directly with organizations and schools and needs. But we also know that we are also creative, and so even if you don't find something in that list that maybe you're interested in or you have your group may want to do, let us know and we'll work with you to be creative and figure out something. I think that's one of the things that we want to do is make these things as easy as possible for everyone. And then also just mentioning real quick that we do have the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, which is really, for us, it's our 55+ program for volunteers. It's a grant, it's a federal grant that actually we serve 4 counties with, 2 of them being Johnson and Washington counties. So if you have individuals who would also like to be involved with that, or even as people are figuring out what may be next in their life, we can also be a resource to connect to those opportunities specifically. And again,
Awesome.
If you ever have questions, please feel free to contact me and reach out.
Thank you so much, Patty. The ability to tailor volunteer experiences is something Patty does best. And so if your employees are looking for an opportunity to volunteer, whether that's an on-site volunteer opportunity at an agency, or that's an internal volunteer opportunity, maybe in your organization, with that we can bring something to you that will make an impact in our community. She does a great job of driving all those efforts and tailoring that to what your specific interests are and your needs are. So we're super excited to provide that opportunity to our community and to continue to support that. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention throughout all of this, throughout COVID, throughout ongoing years in past, but really emphasized during COVID was our 211 initiative. We've spoken to it with many of you through our presentations last year, but United Way's 211, identified as the COVID resource for our country, really exploded when COVID initially came on board. And our 211 operators did a phenomenal job locally of being schooled up on what they needed to know, making sure that they could connect individuals not only with the resources in their community, but directly collect individuals with medical care staff to support their medical questions, as well as mental health care staff to help them support any sort of counseling needs that were being identified for mental health or stability issues. And we're so impressed with that initiative. We're so impressed with how it was rolled up and geared up, and we'll continue to support that and continue to be there for anybody in our community as needed. So how does all of this work? How do we drive those dollars into our community? This year, we want to continue to make it as easily as we possibly can to drive your dollars to our United Way giving and to our partner agencies, as well as United Way initiatives to strengthen our community. We went to digital giving platforms last year with many of you, and we're encouraging almost everyone to go ahead and utilize this service this year. And the nice thing about this year is that we actually enhanced it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop out of this PowerPoint really quick and bring you to an example of what it would look like with a giving page. So some of you do use our e-pledge service, which is a little bit different, and we tailor that. But for the remaining of our companies and organizations, each of you can receive a landing page on our website that will be co-branded with your company name. So this is obviously our template up here, but we'll change that so it's your name on here so your organization or your employees know where they've landed in the right place. But this page actually houses a lot of great information, which may save you some time as well. First of all, just that great banner that'll scroll across here with things like just a quick welcome with your company's name in there, when your actual pledge drives will be, information about who to contact for questions, which probably would be each of you, and then just a quick thank you. We will co-brand it again with our logo and your logo to make sure, again, everybody knows they're in the right home. We do have that United Way video that you just watched there with Amanda Gorman that they can watch on this site. We'd love to have a message from your leadership, your CEO. This is just our little placeholder from Jennifer Doe. She just says give and thanks. She's pretty succinct and to the point. But we also have a message in here from Katie Knight, which is a great little message that reaches out again to your employees that they can take the opportunity to read. And as we scroll further down in there, we've got our brochure for this year, which will be linked right into there, as well as an understanding of ways in which you can support your community. So these are all nice accordion drop downs. So you can see that to improve lives in our community by giving to the United Way General Fund has the biggest reach. It explains a little bit about our birth to education efforts and the organizations that support us in our partner agencies. Same thing for building financial stability. So you can see our partner agencies there, as well as our partner agencies listed under access to healthcare. So just a quick and easy way for people to see those agency names again. We also have our annual report linked into here if they want to take a look back at last year and get some information on United Way. We're very transparent. We want people to know about us. A quick thank you there. And then here's that pledge form. It is right here and ready to go. You don't need to leave this page. It's all housed in one location. Special thanks to Carol Rowland because she helps me develop all of this out there and takes care of all those little tweaks. But this payroll deduction page allows us to cater anything on here that we need to. So again, if they would like to select $10 per pay period, we can tailor this to match your number of pay periods. We have found in the last year that not everybody does know how many pay periods they have in a year. So we'll make that as easy as possible by making sure your correct number of pay periods are reflected here. Once we go ahead and select the number of paid periods, it'll automatically total your total gift for the entire year for your employee. We do ask for some basic information here so that we can make sure we get thank yous and things like that out. Email information, house information, address-wise, just confirming some information if they want to remain anonymous. We definitely want to recognize our loyal donors. If they're going to be retiring soon, how can we stay in contact with you? They want to partner with their spouse or partner to give a gift in a joint effort. If they are giving in two different organizations, they want to make sure we let us know that so we can recognize them for their whole gift. Legacy giving, if you're interested in looking and exploring those options, we'll certainly follow up with you. And then the designation options like we talked about above. So, if you would like your money just to go to the General United Way Fund of Johnson and Washington counties, we'll certainly allocate that out to the greatest need in our community. Again, you can address those 3 initiatives, as well as if you'd like to address a United Way initiative. So if you click that button, you'll get a nice little drop down, as well as information on those United Way initiatives that you can click on. If you'd like to, again, designate to a United Way partner agencies or any 501c3 organization, how you would go about doing that, drop those dollars in, get that organization's name in there. If you have the address, sign off, electronic sign off, and you'll go ahead and hit submit and you're done. So this makes it employee giving for your employees incredibly easy. Not only because it's all housed on the same page as some information about United Way, but also because it can be done on your computer, it can be done on your phone. It's quick, it's accessible, and it's usable. Again, though, if there is something, for example, if your CEO decides to give a video, wants to do something like that, we can place that video on this page. If there's an opportunity with the organization to talk about your overall organization support of United Way, that you want to make sure your employees know, or if there's some incentive you want to drop on this page to say, hey, your participation will get you X, Y, or Z. We're happy to, again, tailor that language into here, put a picture in here, whatever the case may be. We drive this page. And so we just want to make sure it reflects your culture in your company. And again, we want to make it as easy as we can for all of our employees to give. Definitely would open it up also while I'm switching back to my PowerPoint. Terry Anderson and Carol Rowland both do a lot of our pledge work behind the scenes, both with our e-pledge, but also with processing all of our pledges. They're certainly going to be added again this year. Ideally, just utilizing our page that we just showed you, because again, we can just do a drop down of information in an Excel spreadsheet and share that with you on a regular basis throughout your campaign, and definitely give you a summary at the end of your campaign. We do still have a fillable PDF pledge form if that's something that you'll be working with. And we do have some hard copies as well. But again, we'd really like to companies and organizations we partner with to utilize this system if that is something your organization is already connected to. Terry, Carol, any additional comments about giving that we can share with our audience today to help things out?
Just let us know how you'd like us to customize your giving page.
And just as Tricia said, Trish and Terry and I are all here to support you with your campaigns. And if you need any information about past giving history or any help with pledging at all, just let any of us know and we'll be happy to help.
Awesome. You just don't get any better than these guys. They will respond so quickly to any questions you have. And we want to make sure that you have everything you need to run a successful campaign. And that's a great start to it by using this landing page. Special events. So this is always a highlight of this with you. A lot of opportunities, and a lot of our companies and organizations use special events as a way to engage their employees in a fun and exciting way. And sometimes it also kind of partners with an opportunity to educate our employees, but also just to introduce them to United Way. And of course, with a lot of things when it comes to planning, this new special event list was created last spring during kind of our quote off season. And so many of the new ideas are in-person opportunities. Again, each organization and company will be in a different position with COVID as to how their employees will be interacting with their campaign again this year. We know some companies will stay completely virtual. We know some companies will be going hybrid. And we also know that there are companies and organizations that will be in person. Some were last year and some will be new to this year to being in person with new safety guidelines. And so we wanted to introduce to you a lot of new opportunities to freshen up your campaign, to ignite people to join in and have some fun with United Way. So we attached that special event document to your email. So you have had the chance to maybe take a peek at some of those, or will in the next couple of days or weeks before your campaign starts, so you can do some planning. But there's some really fun new ones in here. I think one of my favorites is, if you have the bandwidth to do it, there's a way that you can segregate your group into teams, maybe 2 or 3 people, and create a hole for a miniature golf course. And then you can go ahead and put 3 or 4 holes together and create a miniature golf course that you can have employees go ahead and maybe donate $1 or $2 to go ahead and play during the day. Or even you can extend that out to customers if you want to, if you have the ability to do that in an area that's safe. And it's spacious enough to control that. But we're really excited for some of these opportunities. But again, there's always the traditional opportunities that we've got in that booklet, including, again, hybrid events as well as completely virtual events. And we're on the go. So we're always looking for new and exciting ways that we can work with you. If you come up with something that's super fun, new and exciting, please let us know. Whether it's one of those formats in terms of virtual or an in-person event, anything and everything, we're always excited to hear and to lift you up. We love to do that on social media. So please do share that with us. I know recently I was working with a company here with Matt at Civco and their teams, and they were working on switching their Amazon Smiles donation to United Way for their campaign. So selecting United Way of Johnson and Washington counties for their campaign to receive all of their Amazon perks from the Amazon Smiles program. Pretty easy lift to make, switch their company account as well. So we're pretty excited about that simple lift. So just really take a moment to dive through there. There's lots of opportunities in there. In addition, we have some new campaign collateral. So there's some new stuff on there. We'll have the brochure we'll be kicking out to you guys. The link will be on our website. But here's a couple of new things. Wanting to captivate your attention, and one way to do that with your employees is to put up a bathroom stall poster. So if you do have that opportunity on site, we do have some examples that we can give you. These are designed to, first of all, give you a little toilet trivia, and then to, again, identify some of those needs that we talked about and you have in your handbook, but to share those needs with your fellow employees and your team members. And so getting that information out is important, and we know no better way to do it than captivate you when you're in the restroom. But knowing it, we know you can't ignore it, and now you can make a difference is what drives these bathroom posters. We can also put a personalized, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but to go ahead and scan on your phone so that you can go ahead and go right to that landing page for your employees. So again, you could do all your donating right there in the restroom if you really needed to. We can add campaign dates on here and personalize it for you, but lots of opportunities. There is a different way to communicate with your team members. We're also offering coupons out this year. We have a sheet of coupons we can share with you. These are great things to sell. The kind of topics of these coupons are like flee at 3, so be able to cash in your coupon to take off early one day and not have you penalized for your vacation time or hours. Call in well, take a day off and just be well. That's kind of a fun one. Begin at 10, come in a little bit late. My personal favorite, the bad hair day. Some days you try and you just don't feel like you're giving it your best and your hair is not showing it either. So here's your bad hair day coupon so you can get out of work that day. So some fun kind of silly coupons to sell and then allow your employees and team members to turn in. Again, traditional video is going to be out there again. We'll have those virtual agency tours, and we're going to discuss, I think in the question, somebody already reached out about a question about actual live tours. But we'll continue to produce as many opportunities as we can for you. But again, we can always co-brand those opportunities, get your logo on there, because this is a partnership. We work together in this effort, and we're always happy to co-brand that information. All right, so we're going to go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about a couple events that are happening right now with United Way that you have the opportunity to already share with your employees, maybe before your campaign actually kicks off. First of all, we have our 21-day equity challenge starting September 1st. You have the opportunity, and actually you need to register now so you can engage September 1st, excuse me, but to participate in an equity challenge with United Way. This is a group effort. United Ways of Iowa actually came together to roll this effort out to our communities. You can register at our website, and I think we've already shared this information with you guys virtually via an email, but I did want to go ahead and just drop this video in for you, primarily so I can take another sip of coffee, but you have a chance to definitely find out what this is all about. So our equity challenge, oops, popped over to that next slide, but that's all right. Our equity challenge is designed to be a very personal journey. As you saw there, you're going to get a focus topic every day, the ability to interact with support information through blogs, journals, journaling, through videos, a variety of different platforms, and then have the ability to do some self-reflection, maybe some journaling. There'll be some questions that'll pose. Again, this is an individual experience. You'll get an email sent to your email box every day. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join in. We've got over 230 members in our community who have already registered, but we would love to see you registered as well and for you to share this again out with your teammates. To the slide at hand, we also have coming up this afternoon at 1 o'clock, we'll have our third panel discussion focusing around COVID. This is a COVID update that's being provided by our partners. So again, working with the University of Iowa Healthcare, Mercy Iowa City, and Johnson County Public Health. It will all be moderated by Barb Thomas, who does our phenomenal job orchestrating so many questions that get submitted. But if you've not already signed up for this panel, or maybe you're busy at 1 o'clock, we are recording this panel. So please go ahead and register so you can get the recording link sent out to you. Again, so many questions out there about the Delta variant that they'll be addressing. They'll be addressing vaccination. We've got booster shots on there. We've got masking on there. You do have the ability to submit your own question on our site, and it's just going to be, again, a very educational experience. So I really encourage you to share this information out today. It's not too late to register for this. When you register, we'll go ahead and send out a link to you for the Zoom recording, or excuse me, the Zoom to join the live event. And then again, like I said, even if you know you can't attend, go ahead and register so you make sure you do get that recording link in an email later today. All right, we are staying right on schedule, which really never happens, but the most important part of our meeting are definitely questions that you all have about not only leading your campaign in your company, but also our community, about United Way, any questions that you might have. And I'm gonna go ahead and again, pop out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my screen share, excuse me, because I'd much rather see all of you for this process. But do you have any questions that we can try and answer? And by we, I mean anyone from United Way, or do you have any insights you just would like to share from past successes with your campaign? Or if you did run into any stumbling blocks, how can we work those stumbling blocks to make sure that they don't happen again? Oh, it's a quiet group. Again, more coffee is needed. That's okay. I think one of the questions, like I mentioned earlier, we'll go ahead and just throw this out there to start some discussion, is that We have done with a few of our companies and organizations some private tours with their employees, small groups of employees in our partner agencies. Obviously, this was before COVID hit. I will say it was an amazing experience. Mid-American, I know we toured through some of your group. I also know that we toured through Shields, some of their employees. And it's just a great opportunity to go into a partner agency and really get a feel of that atmosphere, understand what's actually happening behind that agency's welcoming door. We altered and switched over to our virtual platform by having agencies provide us with kind of an organic walkthrough of their program. And those are still on our campaign toolkit site. So please feel free to share those with your organization. But Patty, I don't know if you've gotten a good feel from our partner agencies, if that opportunity will be available this year or not, and if you want to speak to the safety involved with that.
Well, everything is still kind of a day to day. So I guess we'll know more in the next few weeks too, because a lot of agencies and organizations have been slowly integrating things back, but then now with the change, we may have that. So regardless, I know that most of our organizations are certainly very concerned about the health and safety of their staff, of their clients. And so with anything, masks and PPE will be very important for any kind of interactions.
Thank you very much. And thank you to our partner agencies who are able to host those, but also to our partner agencies who join us in presentations, because we can't always go out to those partner agencies. And many of our presentations last year, and we're anticipating again this year, will be virtual. We do these lovely little phone calls, or they get these little emails from me that says, hey, I need somebody to come with me to present at an organization. And all kidding aside, the amount of information our partner agencies can share with your team members is incredibly valuable. In fact, I know Kathy Johnson put in the chat that updated information shows 60% of individuals having reported an increase in anxiety and depression. That's a huge number, but communicating that number successfully relies on our partnerships to give those presentations. And so if you're particularly interested in some information to be presented to your team, and would like to ask for a partner agency to join us in your kickoff presentation or in a small group presentation, please let me know. They are so willing to give their time to help educate our community. And we're so thankful for that, because if you think we're all busy, I tell you, our partner agency executive directors are incredibly busy, but they're still willing to carve out some time for you. And so please do let us know, because I love to partner with them and bring them into our presentation. We can even do multiple agencies. If you have a real nice sizable crowd and you think just touching on a few points would be helpful, or maybe an agency from each leg of those stools, or maybe there's a partner agency that you've already connected and you want to know what's happening with them. You used to donate, coats to them or something like that, and you kind of want an update as to what's happening with the pandemic and how it's impacted their clients and their services. We certainly can help you out with that as well. Any other questions about that, or anything else with the campaign that we can certainly help you out with?
Trish, I just want to add that Kathy Johnson went to UPS with me a day or so ago, and you know that UPS drivers are up and going and exercising and out in their trucks and gone. But we actually had 2 presentations with incredible information around mental health, which the leader of UPS actually came out and got us for a second presentation, another group, and just want all of the companies to know how important these agencies are and what incredible information they can share, albeit may not always be in person as we were at UPS. But we actually saw people pick up the flyers that Kathy had brought, and we had been asked to inform the group about mental health opportunities to connect. but we can do that with others. And I believe that is actually going to increase our donations this year at UPS. I've not ever had them be as engaged as they were when Kathy was with me. So for the agencies, really appreciate your offers and interest in participating in whatever way you can. And for the companies, we would, love to bring them as well to you so that you can hear firsthand the incredible work that's going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katie. Yeah, believe it or not, we have already started presentations, and UPS is always one of our first ones that we do. But I want to make sure you do note over in the chat, we've had 2 of our partner agencies also drop in some additional information. We've got offerings to do an actual tour, shelter house. Christine's willing to jump out there and do a tour if you guys want to organize that. Again, go ahead and contact me first so that we make sure that we're not overlapping with other companies or organizations. And so that's really important. Also, Barbara mentioned in there about COVID vaccination clinics. The Iowa City Free Medical and Dental Clinic has been ongoing, trying to reach as many people in our community, especially focusing on those marginalized individuals who may not have access to get to a vaccination site, and have been doing a great effort to lift that up and make sure that our community can be vaccinated if you choose to be, but just to, again, increase that vaccination number and safety. If you're looking to do a food drive, that is something that we definitely traditionally have done in our campaigns, but I will share, we partnered with HACAP. Chris and I worked with a local fitness gym just this last year, Gilbert Street Fitness, and we did a non-traditional food drive. So we did a multicultural food drive. And it was amazing. HACAP provided us with a list of items that weren't your traditional, give me your tuna or your can of soup that's been sitting in your pantry for 2 years. It was really driven around multicultural food. So we had beans donated, we had rice, we had a variety of different opportunities that you could engage your team members with to donate. And really a neat experience with that. Talk about a learning experience. And we would love to add to that another layer, which would be to share recipes. We think that would be a really cool layer to add into that food drive, to, again, expand that a little bit, educate your team members on some new experiences, some new recipes, but also to expand that a little bit. So great offerings coming through in the chat. So if you haven't taken a moment to look in there and view those, please do. And again, this is all being recorded, and we'll definitely send out a recording link when all is said and done. We're at about 8:54. So again, any additional questions, we're happy to discuss with you, but I do want to make sure your time schedule stays intact. Just a heads up while you're thinking of any additional questions, I will be kicking out a survey the beginning of next week, just to find out kind of what's happening with your campaign, confirm your campaign dates, make sure that we have all the information that we need to support your campaign. So be looking for that. It'll be very short, literally probably 10 questions or less, most of them yes and no, and maybe just a few dates being asked in there, but want to make sure we can get you the information you need to get pledging on that virtual platform at the right time, get that platform built out for you and co-branded. It does take just a little bit of time, so obviously we can't do that in 2 minutes flat, but we want to make sure we get it done for you when your campaign starts. We need to tailor any of that collateral for you, make sure we can do that. For some of our companies who have a footprint or a market in other communities, we always tailor our information to be branded with just United Way, because we know that those markets are supporting their local United Ways, not necessarily our specific one. We want to make sure we have the opportunity to get that tailoring done again before your campaign starts. But if you would like just a moment to meet with me individually or any of our team members to discuss your campaign, how to launch your campaign, we do provide that nice checklist in your handbook there to walk you through preparing your campaign. But I'm always happy to have a conversation either via the phone, via Zoom, maybe in person over coffee if we can still do that, but always happy to support you and make sure that you're getting the information that you need. As always, though, I can't extend to you enough our appreciation. You are our arms in the community. We couldn't do this without you. We run over 120, 130 employee campaigns. We have special events happening in other companies, just corporate gifts. And so obviously that's not something that we can all do individually. It does take an army, and our army is our campaign cabinet, as well as each of you. And so our cabinet will be reaching out to you. They'll be grouped into teams again this year and reaching out to you to again support you in your efforts. They're kind of an extension of United Way, and they're energized and they're super excited and ready to go. And so we look forward to that opportunity to connect you with them. But again, always rely on reaching out to me if you need specific information. We can certainly get it to you quickly. The other thing is just to give you a little preview, September 22nd, get it on your calendar from 5 to 6 p.m. It will be our official campaign kickoff in the community. It is gonna be cool. We're super pumped this year because we have the honor of welcoming in as our keynote speaker, the new University of Iowa president, Barbara Wilson. So she will be speaking at kickoff. She is a longtime United Way supporter, and we're very excited to work with her as well as the entire university community on enhancing their United Way participation and involvement. We already have so many great people with the university who help us out, all the way from student United Way groups, all the way up to professors, faculty, staff, and now we have Barbara Wilson coming on. She's a past board president from her previous location, and so we're super excited. So get that on your calendar. Our location is the north end zone at Kinnick Stadium. It's a kickoff, so there will be somehow a football involved in all of this. Shocker from the University of Iowa, but also our community in Iowa City. But we're super excited to share her message with all of you, as well as Dan and Janet, who you already heard from today. They are wonderful supporters of United Way and have really driven this kickoff and put together a very nice effort. So again, save that on your calendar. Next week, you'll be seeing a save the date, or actually an invitation going to go straight out on the invitation side. We're not even going to mess with the save the date because it's going to be so cool. We know that we're going to want to get as many in there as we possibly can. So looking forward to that. Anything else before we let you go? I'm going to give you 2 whole minutes back, which isn't as much time as I like to give back to people. But as of right now on your calendar, you're still in a meeting. So you might just take 2 minutes just to sit there and take a breath and be thankful for every opportunity that you have to enjoy your day. But we're, again, so excited to partner with each and every one of you. I don't think we can say it enough, and thankful for what you do. From the bottom of our hearts, again, your support for our community is amazing. And from the smallest gift to the largest gift, we are appreciative of all of them. So thank you so very much and have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for joining us.